I'm so delighted to be back at one of my favorite places in the world. I'm at the Dream Center in Los Angeles, California, and what an amazing place. God is doing miracles in this place every day, 24 hours a day. No matter, they never take a break. They never break for Christmas or Easter, or they never take a step back and say, let's regroup. It is ongoing all the time. They have had over 200,000 people come through the programs here at the Dream Center through the years. From drug addiction to brokenness to sex trafficking, people who have been through living literal hells, and they're restored, they're put back together. They're told and introduced to the King of Kings, Jesus Christ, who changes their life and really breaks curses off of people's lives for a generation. I'm sitting with one of the founders of this amazing ministry, the one and only Matthew Barnett. We love you so much. Love your family so much.
It's so good to be with you.
Wife and family that just have done so much for the kingdom of God. Good to have you.
Hey, it's a tremendous honor to be here, especially on a floor like this. You know, you see the background. We're on one of the floors here at the Dream Center. And I look at that whole building in the background, and I see you and your ministry, your partners. Your hand is in this place 24 hours a day of serving and helping people. And it's almost like you've sponsored this whole campus. And it's incredible because, you know, there's so many things that have left our city, so much heartbroken. A lot of good things have left. 30% of the churches in LA have closed, 30%. And so we have this landmark building. We have the old Queen of Angels Hospital where 700 residents live here every single day, whose lives are being restored. And it's a challenge. But you guys, every step of the way, have helped us to help more people, especially during this crisis that we're in right now. I'm just so thankful to be with you.
Well, we're honored to play a small part. And what we recently, I was in a little gathering of people, of leaders, and you and your dad were there, and you guys ministered to us. And the Lord just spoke to my heart again. He's done it through the years. You know, we've done several things here, several projects here. I know we made a lot of the wonderful friends and partners said, let's build a human sex trafficking wing in this building, and we partnered with you on that. We're honored to do that. And then one of the ones, my favorites, was the Emancipated Minors building that we did that provided housing for that transition out of the foster home, that many of the 18-year-old kids would end up on their own in the streets, and we got that transition house. And I love that. And you told me about your dream for the Women's Veterans Home.
Yeah.
And we were able to, through these amazing people, they made a miracle happen.
Yeah.
It was hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars altogether over 2.1 million. But we got a big announcement, Matthew, after I heard you guys minister, and after I heard your dad ministered and you ministered there, and it just so touched my heart again that there's no other place like this in America, maybe not in the world. And by the way, you have inspired thousands of dream centers around the world to be birthed, and ministries like it all over the world. You are a prototype of what a generation is crying out for. When you look at fentanyl, when you look at 100,000 people, young people mostly, dying, I mean, it's unbelievable. I heard somebody on the radio the other day said it was like if you had a 747 crashing every week.
Wow.
Would that alarm you? And that's how many people are dying from drug addiction and overdoses. And the only answer is places like this. And so as you guys were speaking and ministering, I just heard that gentle whisper of the Holy Spirit. It's always been my dream to give your ministry a $1 million gift. It's been in my dream for over 30 years to give $1 million to the Dream Center in one gift. And we're going to do that. We are able to do that. And God's going to help us to do that. and we're thrilled about it. And we know that when you give it into this place, into this ministry, it's that 100-fold good ground that Jesus talked about that will produce eternal results. And we're on a floor that is for families. They're homeless families. And even walking through here, it just messes you up a little bit in a good way, because you can be immune. You can see on the news the streets and the needs and the poor and the homeless and the hungry, and you can just say, well, that's just how it is. But when you walk through a place like this and you realize Jesus said in Matthew, which is amazing, that's your name too, Matthew 25, that as you do it unto the least of these, you're doing it to me.
Yeah.
So we're giving you, precious people who give and help us, are giving this to the Dream Center, but really we're giving it to Jesus, because he lives here.
Yeah.
He's fed here. He's clothed here. Has his medical needs met here. You have so many outreaches in this place. It's unbelievable. I don't know how you manage it. I don't know how you do it.
Well, and I think the thing that breaks my heart the most, and I know our team, is, families come in and they have nothing.
Right.
They're like a trash bag in their car, and these little children are checking in, and they walk into these old hospital rooms that were modeled into places for families to live, and they see like a bed, and we put a little bear on there to let them know that, safety, comfort. And the kids are jumping up in the bed and screaming, I haven't slept in a bed in years. And like, how is this possible in America? Like, kids are jumping up and down saying, I can't believe I get to sleep in a bed. And they grab that bear like you just bought them a Rolls Royce and just hugging it. And it's just so, it shocks me. I think I've seen it all. But when I see the children's expression on the basic little things that are provided, and then to have a year to live because of your ministry and all of your viewers, to have a year gives you a real chance to make it. 30 days doesn't help.
You let them live in here for a year.
Or longer, but a year's a goal.
Save up, and if they can, you also have job placement opportunities and ministry that helps.
We do. We have job placement. We have GED programs. We have counseling. We have free food every single day to help them. And the goal is really, when Ben Carson was here, I was talking about how all of our programs are a year longer. And he stopped, he looked at me and he said, that's exactly what's necessary, because the brain needs time he goes into this whole medical reason of why a year is good.
Wow.
I looked at him and I said, well, yeah, that's exactly why we do it, and I didn't realize we just do it because people need the
Holy Spirit is smarter than a brain surgeon, which Ben Carson is, of course.
And people need the luxury of time. That's what we call it, the Dream Center, time. When people don't have time, they make bad decisions, they hustle, they try to find a way in the streets to make it. They sell their bodies, they deal drugs, because how else are you going to make it when you're on the hustle? You're just trying to get through. But here, we try to get people away from that hustling mentality and say, look, you have time.
So good.
You have time to let the Word of God work in you. You have time to let our church services get in your spirit. You have time to allow all those things to grow in your heart. And so by really, some of these mothers that come in here 18, 19 years of age, they were emancipated themselves. They don't really know how, and then they get parent coaching and all of this. And then it's kind of like the scripture, hide the child in the house of the Lord.
Yes.
And because sometimes it takes time for those root issues to come out and then to be rebuilt and the kingdom wise. And so that's why I love about our approach to homeless families, is because sometimes it's beans and rice and Jesus Christ, It's like right to the core. But that's the way it should be, because this whole housing first system that our government's under, like, don't challenge people to change, just put a roof over their head, no accountability. That's just not going to do it. People are starving for job skills training, but more than that, a spiritual mentor, Bible studies, accountability to really not only minister to their need, but really minister to their potential.
And even as we're talking, what is powerful about being here on this property, you were talking about they finally have a bed, their own bed with a little bear, love bear, and I hear a baby sound off down the hall, and it touches your heart, because the answer is to care. The answer is we can't. It's almost like your mentality is we can't do everything, but we're going to do something.
Yeah.
And you just keep adding to that something, another layer and another layer. And now we're going to build another layer. Here at the Dream Center, we're going to be a part. And I believe people are watching this program today, and you can really make a difference. And I don't care how you do it. Just let God speak to you. Let Him tell you what to do. And think of your own grandchildren. Think of your own children, like we're hearing little voices down the halls here. And every once in a while, even it sounds like a baby crying.
Mm-hmm.
And to have a place that they can come, that they're safe, that they can sleep at night and it's clean, and they're fed and they're clothed and they're educated, and the peace of mind of that mother laying her head down that's been living in a car or out on the streets and say, my children are safe tonight.
Yeah.
What do you think we could do greater than that? I know of nothing. So it's pretty amazing. Tell us about this great need. You mentioned to me earlier when we were talking that you have a waiting list of families always.
Always, yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, we have a waiting list of over 100 families trying to get housing. And, it was just so discouraging. During COVID, we at least tried to get a floor going, but it pretty much stopped in a few days. That's when the escalation of prices of the building costs were so high. And so we just said, well, you know what, we'll just hold on, just pray for a miracle one day to actually go on and tackle this floor, just like this one. An entire hospital floor, big rooms to be able to help people, and to open up over 20 more rooms for families, which is about 100 people a day of housing. It's just a lot. And so we said, well, we'll just kind of put that on the back burner, and maybe 5-10 years down the road, we'll be able to even think about tackling it. And 5 months down the road, we get a call from you guys to say, it's possible now. We can get that waiting list and get families in, because that's my greatest dream. The movie years ago came out, Pursuit of Happiness, with Will Smith.
Yes.
There's a scene in there where him and his son are in a train station, and they're over in the corner, and he's in the bathroom just with his son holding him so he can sleep at night. That was a scene that pretty much struck America to its core.
Right.
But realizing that happens every single day with the people that we're reaching out to. We're providing a place out of train stations, and now with the whole floor, to be able to do so much more. I mean, you're not just reaching the 20 plus families, you're reaching hundreds of families, because everyone's at different levels. Some families need 6 months to get back on their feet again. Some need a year, but constant opening of families coming into this place who are being helped. And so to even think that this is possible for us, to even start going on this is beyond anything that we ever dreamed, because, we just been throwing all the water out of the boat over the last couple of years during COVID. And, we lost $1 million in income because our youth groups and short-term missions couldn't come here.
Right.
Speaking trips for my dad and I raised money.
Right.
And I for the first time in my life, I thought, man, it might be over, God. And the Lord said, well, if it's going to be over, go out serving. And so we just started serving with what we had. And the Lord began to bless it. And now sending you guys in our lives. And now we're not just thinking about survival. We're thinking about conquering now.
Come on.
And taking more. And I love you guys so much. I want to thank you. Your heart is all over this campus. You're here everywhere. Your legacy lives in every room in this campus, literally. In addition to all that, you support 170 men and women in our drug and alcohol rehab program. I mean, today I just walked to the campus, they were all doing circles, prayer walk circles. And people addicted to fentanyl and meth, that's also a program that you guys have support with your monthly giving. And so I'm just kind of bewildered that we're actually at a place now that we can think about going forward and adding and growing in a time of people don't think that way.
I'm going to just throw it out there. I'm just going to throw it out there. I believe that there are 50 people or ministries or foundations or corporations that could step up right now in this nation. And I want you to match that. If you can match what our ministries do, and match it and bless them, because this is the Lord's work and He will bless anyone who will do it. And thank you, partners, as we are sending every month now. We started it and we've just finished it till we're completely done with it, $100,000 a month, until we've completed our gift of $1 million, and then we'll keep doing our monthly support like we've been doing for a long time.
We'll be back in 90 seconds with more of Jentezen Franklin's message.
Over 75,000 people face the harsh reality of homelessness every single night in Los Angeles. It's truly heartbreaking to know that among these vulnerable individuals are families and innocent children. Imagine their desperation as they wander the streets, hungry and without a place to call home. For over a decade, Jentezen Franklin Media Ministries has partnered with the Dream Center in Los Angeles to provide a place where people whose dreams have been shattered find the love of Jesus, and in the process, they find wholeness, new hope, a fresh start. Because of you, we have provided a home for emancipated minors who had nowhere to go. We built a house for homeless women veterans suffering from PTSD. And now we are continuing our partnership with the Dream Center and building the Freedom House for homeless families. It's a program that presents struggling homeless families with several powerful opportunities. Not only will they have a bed to lay their head on at night, but the entire family will be fed. They'll receive help for their education, counseling, as well as learning new skills that will help them provide for their family and their future. By contributing to this crucial project, you honor the very words spoken by Jesus in Matthew 25:40. Truly I tell you, whatever you did to one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. Today, you have the power to provide them with the hope they so desperately seek. Go online to see how you can be involved.
It's one thing to add a floor. It's another thing to have all the people that have to support that floor, the workers, the supplies, the food. I don't know how you do it. How do you think when you pull up on this campus? How does your mind? How do you feel when you see the families and the lives that are being changed?
Do you know what I think, Pastor Jentezen? When I drive up to see this hospital, it sits on the Hollywood freeway. It's 400,000 square feet. It's the biggest landmark in all of LA. Everybody wants our land because it's so, valuable. And they pull up and you can see the Dream Center, and right behind it, you can see the Hollywood sign.
Yeah.
And Hollywood says, bring your youth, we'll make them famous, but oftentimes they turn into drug addicts and they end up on the street. And then right below the Hollywood sign, I see this hospital that is the real dream, and that is picking up the pieces of the broken Hollywood dream. And it sits right underneath that sign is really where we pick up the broken pieces of what the false dream really was and help them get their lives back together again. And so when I pull up and I see that hospital and the Hollywood sign behind it, I say, this is God's dream for your life. And man's dream is disappointing, but when people find God's dream, when there's endurance in it, there's potential in it, we just don't minister people's need,
right.
We minister potential. And it just kind of warms my heart every day that the most visible land in all of Los Angeles belongs to God's kingdom and his people who are investing into the lives of others. And so it's the real dream. It's God's dream. And to think that all the roots we've been able to put down here in this city and stay when everybody's leaving. I always say the most powerful message to the community is to stay. And that's how you change the atmosphere of the community, by outlasting the drug dealers, outlasting the pimps. Whoever stays the longest will win the battle for influence.
I love it.
And you guys have allowed us to stay nearly 3 decades through all the impossibilities. And I know sometimes television hypes the need in LA, but they're not overhyping. If anything, they're underhyping what's really going on. It's worse than what even television shows. I've never seen, I feel like kind of like Nehemiah now. It's like, you know, kind of rebuilding the walls of the city with people who are helping us with a common heart. But, you know, when times get tough, we just put down deeper roots and we just keep fighting for the hearts and souls of people.
Well, we want to thank you for being a part. We want to thank you for helping us help great ministries. We do 3 things with resources that you give to this ministry. Number 1, we preach the gospel all over the world, over 200 nations. We translate these messages that you watch every week into different languages. It goes all over the world. We're always enlarging that. Secondly, we produce materials, written materials, books, Bibles, all kinds of materials, things that we can do to get the gospel out. And then lastly, we love to give generously to great ministries. Partner with them. You know, we can try to do everything ourselves, or you can find a great ministry that has a track record, that is integrous, that does what they say they do, only they exceed it. They can't even describe what they do until you come and see it for yourself. And we try to come alongside and say, here, take this gift. Last year in our own hometown of Gainesville, Georgia, we were able to give $1 million to a homeless center there. But this year, the Lord says, the Dream Center needs to be that gift. And you, our wonderful partners, make those kinds of miracles happen. And I can truly say it is the greatest joy in my life to I'm just searching all the time. I mean, what would you have us do, Holy Spirit?
Yes.
And I want to thank you for making that happen. And we're going to continue to do that. If you're watching this today and you would say, you know, I need a miracle in my home, in my family. I want to encourage you to do something. Help make that miracle happen for someone else. Then God has a way of making it just come back around and target the very great need in your own life. And I want to pray for you today, and I want to believe God with you. Would you pray, number one, that we would see just all that we need to do to help this ministry do what they're doing? And then pray for the Dream Center, Matthew Barnett, and the amazing team here, that they would absolutely have more than enough. And then that God would bless this new floor, this new project of up to 100 people being blessed. Is it 100 people or 100 families?
100 families in the course of that year, yeah.
In the course of that year will come through this floor by God's grace, because you made it happen, because you're giving to it today, because you do more than just say, yeah, somebody needs to do something, but you say, I am the one. And this is the place, and now is the time. And I'm going to just listen to that whisper in God's little voice in my ear, and I'm going to give to that, because it's going to make a difference. I want to pray for you today. Father, I thank you for every person who's viewing. And I just pray today for every home and every family that's going through any kind of crisis. And today, what we make happen for others, you know how to make it happen for our families. And they may be in Arkansas, they may be in Alabama, they may be in Tennessee or Oregon, or I don't know where people are watching this, Florida, New York. And you may feel like, God, I need a miracle in my own home. Well, as we provide a floor at the Dream Center through this $1 million gift that we're giving the Dream Center, as we provide a floor for 100 families who are homeless to come through and be clothed and fed and have somewhere to sleep and eat and get their lives back together and restored, and most of all, find Jesus, I pray that you would target families and homes that are watching this program. I know what it is to have a need in my own family. I know what it is to go through pain and suffering and know that it looks like the enemy's going to win with your child or with your grandchild. And in the name of Jesus, Lord, we just pray the power of your name, the power of your blood, cover every home represented in this audience today. Speak to people and let them know that you are the God of their families, and that you know how to reach and restore and save. In Jesus' name. Maybe you're watching this program and you'd say, I need a change in my life. Let it start with you. Just say, Jesus, I receive you as my Lord and Savior. Wash me, cleanse me, and heal my life and my family. And if you're watching this today and you need prayer, there's a number on the screen. Go to that number and pray. And if you prayed that prayer, we've got free gifts we want to give you, like a devotional for the next 30 days. It's free. It's our gift to you. Just go online. The address is there, and all you have to do is just say, I'm reaching out. There's all kinds of materials that'll be a blessing to you. And if you're watching this today and you'd say, I'd love to be a part of what God is doing through that ministry, and particularly that floor that Kingdom Connection is providing, then I appreciate your support, and you can help us make a difference in 100 families right here on the floor that we're making happen through the amazing Dream Center and Pastor Matthew Barnett. Thank you for making that miracle happen. Ask the Lord what he'd have you do, and then just boldly do it, and let's see what we can do together. Thank you so much. God bless you.
This program has been sponsored in part by friends and partners of Jentezen Franklin Media Ministries. For more information about this message and other ministry resources, visit us online at jentezenfranklin.tv.